The day I found out about the Milken Award is still a bit of a blur. We knew we were going to have an all-school assembly. We knew that the Commissioner of Education from Missouri was going to be there. The rumors just ran the gamut. The Commissioner introduced Mr. Milken.
Our purpose is to convey what we believe to be certain essential truths. To the public we say that educators have the most important job in this country today and that excellence in education needs to be recognized. And we're very pleased.
He began to talk about a big award and $25,000, and then when he said my name, it was just unbelievable. It was probably the biggest shock of my life.
To one of your truly outstanding educators, Jeff Gall.
The moment I received the award, I can't even describe the feeling. The kids that came up afterwards and showed their appreciation, and really, I had a sense they were really happy for me. I can't tell you how great that felt. What he said, the one thing I caught that he said about education being the greatest profession on the planet Earth, I've got to echo that. I had a friend several years ago that I've always remembered. His name was James Jeffrey. He had a big impact on my life. And he said that success is investing yourself in something that will outlive you. And I just try to think about that. I'll say it again. Success is investing yourself in something that will outlive you. Most high school kids think very much in the present tense. They want to know what's happening today, maybe at the most what's going to happen Friday night. And so one, to get them in the past is a challenge.
The important value of the Renaissance was skepticism.
I think I sell kids on the importance of the past by helping them see that the past has absolute and definite connections with the present.
Are you skeptical?
You know, if they're going to understand even their own little world, they need to understand where they have been.
I don't know. I just don't believe everything that everybody says.
Now, is that healthy, or do you call her a cynic? What do you think?
It's healthy.
Fritz, why is that healthy? Let's take a look at what happened on this day.
American history.
September 30th. Some really pretty incredible things happened on this day. Cuba was...
If I want my students to be passionate about history, they have to see it in me.
Was intervened in by the
I hope they see it in my face, in my actions, in the way I tell a story, to let them know that history is not a dead subject, but it's very much a subject that's alive.
Now, who can remember? We just had this like last unit. What is the dominant American value? I'll give you 30 seconds. Bonnie. Money. Shannon, did you have the same thing? No. What'd you have?
I feel like I passed my influence on the students by being a teacher who is excited about my subject, but also cares deeply about them, and they respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Human is the measure of all things.
As opposed to, okay, what was the most important value of the Middle Ages? What did we say?
Since history is a story, I like to bring all kinds of stories into the classroom.
I want to give you a little bit of an introduction, first of all, and I want to tell you one of my favorite stories from the Mexican Revolution.
To me, as a history teacher, I think storytelling is just a pivotal part of what I do every day.
Francisco Madero, he was a nice guy. In what way was he a nice guy?
Well, he was honest.
He was honest. Okay, he was a man of integrity.
Textbooks obviously have an important part in education, but I would rather students read primary sources or novels and hear stories from myself or other people. We bring in World War II veterans. We bring in people who have lived through the Great Depression.
He was a moderate to a liberal. What if you were going to critique Francisco Madero?
For them to see that history indeed has flesh and blood and isn't confined to the pages of a textbook, they start to see, yeah, this can be interesting, this can be relevant, this can be meaningful.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time that Grandpa and his brother Bill got...
Oral tradition was a big part of my family experience. Most Sundays we were at Grandma and Grandpa's farm, and Dad loved to tell stories, and both my dad and Grandpa loved to read, and they read history especially. And so there was always a good story around the dinner table.
They were trying to shoot trees and such, and there was a water tank.
Grandpa was a World War I vet, and Dad was a World War II vet, so it might be stories about Army life, it might be stories about school life.
They used to drain the water tank.
As a history teacher, I get to tell stories every day. That's what I love about history. But as a father and a parent, too, I think it's important. I love to tell the stories my dad and my grandpa told me to my children, and I hope they'll pass those on to their children. Because I think it really bridges generation to generation and ties a family and a community and a classroom together.
Went out to water the horses when he went to fill the tank at leak.
Charles Barkley a couple years ago said what about role models? What did he say? I'm not a role model. Who should be role models? teachers and parents. I feel like, first of all, everybody's a role model. No matter who you are and how you live, somebody's going to model their life after you. A friend of mine once told me. Teachers are special role models. I think that young people, despite shifts in culture, still want role models. They want people they can respect. Who you are and how you live, somebody's going to model their life after you, and I think that's true. We're all role models. I'm a role model, you're a role model. How can Charles Barkley say, I'm not a role model? How can some of you make the argument that baseball players or athletes don't have that responsibility?
Well, I've had some great social studies teachers, but as far as being my most influential one and the one that definitely helped me get started and feel confident about what I was doing is Mr. Gall. Not only did he first just plant that seed of like the love of history, you know, for my classes, once I started talking about that I wanted to be a social studies teacher, he really helped influence me.
I tell my classes, I say, the best and the brightest need to consider teaching. And I've had some very bright young people enter the classroom, even right here in our own district. And I've got to say that's one of the most exciting things that can happen to a teacher is to see one of their proteges end up being a role model and a teacher themselves. Nikki was a student of mine for 3 years. I had her in 3 different history classes. Also had the privilege of being her cooperating teacher when she student taught.
I'd make sure that everybody is awake and with me today on this bright sunny Monday morning.
I was in 9th grade pre-IB history, and Jeff Gall was my teacher. And he walks in class the first day and goes, welcome to pre-IB history, your favorite class. And I insist on that. And I just thought, what is this guy? And I thought, really, within the first couple of weeks, that looked so fun teaching that that's what I wanted to do.
Garrett Leahy, who I had as a history student for 3 years, now he's going to be a science teacher, but one of the brightest young people I've ever worked with. He's doing his student teaching right now, and I think he will be a dynamite teacher.
Melanophores and lipophores.
Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, there's not going to be a scholar. When I say that it's important for a teacher to invest time in students, you make yourself available to them. They know you care about them. You make opportunities available for them to get to know you as more than just a teacher, but also as a person. I want them to know about my family and what's important to me. And I think that's a big part of what I call investing my life in my students. I really believe that teaching is an exciting profession because we plant so many seeds in so many different ways. And sometimes the soil's a little bit hard and we don't feel like our seeds are sinking in. Other times the soil's real fertile and we just know we're making a difference. Sometimes that hard soil will have kids come back years later and say, hey, I really liked your class. We never know. We're spreading seeds of knowledge, encouragement, and love. I just can't imagine doing anything else besides being a teacher.